please, please, please stop putting your prices on your website, especially without putting starting to first. I'm going to explain a concept to you today, an economic concept called price discrimination. Now, discrimination is usually a very bad word, but here what it means is you as a business are understanding exactly what your customer can pay and maximizing that. When you say, I'm going to take 10 photos for $75, you are eliminating the concept of someone might want to pay you $300 or $600 for that. So you have to figure out ways, based on what your pricing packages are, to discriminate by what your customers can pay. So how do you do that? And how's it happened in the past before? The first time I really thought about this, I learned it in college, but separately. I was an economics major in college and in journalism. And I was photographing a wedding in my college town. And I remember the dad of the bride paid me that night. And he said, I paid more than twice this much for a photographer for my other daughter, and you're better than they are. Now, I'm telling you that not to pay you more money, but just so you know you're undercharging your prices. And then he just left. I remember being so mad at myself and kind of at him, but just understanding that I wasn't pricing properly and realizing I was going to do the same amount of work anyway, but without understanding what the pricing model was or what the customer was willing to pay, I left money on the table. So let's take wedding photographers, for example. As a wedding photographer, one of the ways you discriminate pricing is by offering hours of time. So if you say I can photograph just the ceremony for $800 or the entire day for $5,000, if you give increments in between, you can give people the option to decide what they want, because the truth is you're going to gas up your car, you're going to drive, you're going to edit the photos anyway. So adding additional hours actually doesn't really alter anything. Like from the beginning, your costs are the camera, your time. So as you increase your time, you increase your profit, you're still ending up with more money than you would have anyway, because it's not like you're going to shoot a wedding and then go jet skiing and all that stuff in one day. So the opportunity cost is diminished because you're already going to that wedding. So how do you price discriminate? Let's look at Apple. I love Apple, obviously. iPhone guy, you guys know that I make short films with the phone. Think about how the iPhone sells to us. Think about how the iPad's probably even a better example. The iPad has an iPad Pro, it has an iPad, it has a mini, it has an Air. It basically has an iPad for every price point of anyone that'd be interested in that thing. And instead of Apple saying, all right, we have two iPads for $200 and $1,000, they're saying we have an iPad for $300 all the way up to $4,000. Now, people will then self-select not only based on the features they want, but based on the amount of money they have. And so instead of maybe pushing a ton of people to spend $1,000 that would have spent $3K, and instead of pushing people that would have spent $5 down to $2, they've been breaking up their market enough to know many more people are requesting these Pro products. Pro, in my opinion, is just a way to say people that are willing to spend more money. Yes, there are use cases like the Apple Watch Ultra or even the iPad Pro that give some functionality to professionals. But if you look at the number of people that have Pro phones, you have to ask yourself, are these Pro phones for professionals or people that want another option for a camera? It really is like, you have to remember that price is one of the primary ways, or the primary way, that customers make decisions in the market. And so you want to continue to give them options. So what does that look like for you? Okay, so you're not a wedding photographer. Let's say you shoot portraits. If you say I have sessions starting at $75 for 1 hour, then you can say, all right, cool. You want me to photograph you for an hour? Great, come here, do this. However, do you want to do more than one look? Would you like to bring another person? Do you want additional flex, right? You can give folks tiers that give you the option of when they want to spend more money, they can. Instead of just saying 2 hours, $200, one day, $1,500, you can say, hey, it's $1,500 for this base package. And then from there, I offer some other things. You can make decisions later, but here are the options that I give you. You can get portraits. I can get you things optimized for social media. Like, you want to be listening to your client to understand what their needs are, because everyone's not getting a photo for the same thing. And that thing they're getting a photo for costs different money. So basically, this is all a way to identify usage. It's a term that we've been talking about a lot on the channel. So let me clarify what usage is again. Usage is what some work, your work, someone else's photos, illustrations, whatever, can be used for and for how long. So if you have a client that comes in and originally they want a photo that you're going to take just because they want a new Tinder profile photo. And you're like, all right, cool. Personal use, boom. Headshots, hangout, $200, 2 hours, something like that. Then they come back and they're like, hey man, that photo's actually great. I was wondering if I'd use it for my LinkedIn. And you're like, actually, no problem. Keep it for $200. I ain't gonna worry about it. Then they come back and say, hey, I'm speaking at an event and I'm gonna use that headshot. Or I'm a real estate person and I wanna use it for these flyers. And then you can say, hey, so that's gonna make you money. And our original usage we decided on is this much, right? And so now you know that this customer is coming back to you because your work has value. And so you are asking them to pay additional value for something, because originally price discrimination says they need this photo for personal use. So it's just whatever that flat lowest rate is. Then as that value of that thing grows, so does its value to them and to you. And you can charge them appropriately. It's not necessarily good or bad, but think about it this way. Think about when you first get in, we first got internet, we got dial-up and we paid American Airlines and AOL, whatever price. Then as time progressed, we went and got dial-up to broadband to fiber with Fios and Optimum and all that stuff now. The amount that we're willing to pay has increased, right? Because now we understand the value of working from home. And so that same internet, you're being delivered a new service at a new price. But you notice that anything you're being marketed to, cars, internet, Apple products, any product, it always says starting at. That is because they're identifying what their price floor is. You as a creative, it is imperative that you never set your ceiling by posting your price. You always start at your floor and then you allow folks to fluctuate in there because it'll surprise you. Last story, the first time I worked with Logitech, I remember they reached out about doing the combo touch. Here's some B-roll of it. A video about how I use my iPad and how the combo touch is great. And I remember I was like, hey, my agent was like, what do you think we should, like what your expenses are, what do you think we should charge? And so we like did this math and the math came out to a certain amount of money. Like, you know, I don't know how many figures it is. I always forget. 5 figures, not 4, because 4 is like 3K, 5. And I was like, oh, no, we can't put that in. Like, I can't, that's too high. Like, I don't know. And he was like, whether it's high or not, they asked for this usage, for your likeness, and for these things. And so for that, this is what it costs. If they took some things out, sure. And so what we did was, I was like, man, I don't know. Like, I'm like really worried that they're going to be offended by this price. And so what we did was I actually broke the pitch down into 3 parts and said, I can give you one of these parts for the price that I thought, which was what I believe our floor was. And then all of them for this price. And sure enough, they came back and wanted all of them. And I almost accidentally set my price ceiling, right? I will just warn you, you are not evil, you are not bad. Negotiating is the process, not only extracting what you need, but your client getting back what they need, but also understanding that, like, yes, a lot of people want to negotiate and a lot of folks are cheap. I know that the idea of putting your prices, it helps you avoid negotiation. I understand that. But it would surprise you that most of the time, in my personal opinion, and for the people that I work with, when you post your prices, you are losing money. You are going to do that work anyway. You're gonna edit the photos. You're gonna drive to the place. You're gonna photograph the thing. You're gonna illustrate that thing. Try your best to just ask the person, what do they need? What target budget are they looking for? And then if they say, what do you generally charge? Say, my base is this, which delivers this. If you are interested in anything additional, we can discuss that. But price discrimination will help you make a little bit more money on the things you're already doing now by being clear and upfront and using that language of starting up. Hopefully that helps.